Week 6 of NACE Varsity Premier Super Smash Bros. Is upon us, and Shenandoah University keeps chugging through their group, coming off a bye, still undefeated, and looking to maintain that status here tonight with a pretty important, familiar matchup against Radford University. So, we've got a fun one on our hands here tonight. SU coming off a massive win against Fisher Navy. The first time, I believe, a Shenandoah Esports team has taken a series off Fisher. This team looking to continue that momentum in what has been an extremely exciting season. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Clayton, joined alongside Brendan Moss today for our Super Smash Bros. Matchup of the week in NACE Varsity Premier. Moss, this is a different look for you. How are you feeling back?
I'm feeling I'm going to be honest, I'm feeling nervous, but I think it's an exciting time.
It is an exciting time.
I've only ever casted Street Fighter and Tekken and Call of Duty. Valorant one time, we don't talk about that, but this is my first time casting Smash. I'm incredibly excited. I'm usually always in the back room for our Smash games. I have fun watching. Now I get to talk about it.
Yes, you do. Yeah, very familiar with our team, I'm sure. You know, you've seen just as much gameplay of these guys as you know, me and Ben and Kevin last year. But this team is up to some serious shenanigans this year because they have not dropped a series in this NACE bracket. We can take a look at this group because this has been quite a run from the guys. SU up top there at 4-0, only competing right now with Florida International because they've played an extra game. Like I said, SU coming off a bye, but completely undefeated so far through 4 weeks of competition and looking pretty hot along the way too.
They are. We're absolutely on a run this season, you know. And if we go ahead and take a look at the head-to-head regular season, we are playing Radford. We just saw on the last graphic. Currently 1-3, sitting at last in this NACE group. Kind of a tough matchup for Radford going in tonight.
Yeah, numbers obviously not looking great. You saw SU at number 1, Radford at number 7. 6 teams separating these two, and you see the series win percentages, the game win percentages very much leaning SU's way. But the team standing across from them is a very familiar roster. Again, SU having played this Radford squad many, many times now over the years, and SU usually coming out on top. We're expecting at least a King K. Rool, a Toon Link, either a Lucina or a Mario, and then that Incineroar as well. So some interesting characters. Again, not the most meta thing we've seen this team have to deal with, but some fun characters for sure that'll be at least fun to watch, if nothing else.
Yeah, incredibly fun to watch. You know, every single character is new for me when I go in for casting, you know, casting purposes. Now, we want to take a look at, speaking of familiar faces, our own roster here at Shenandoah University, where we're looking at the players you're used to seeing. You know, we got Igloo, we have Kip, Willie, AJ on their normal characters. Yeah, and we have a lot. We have a lot to prove this season. You know, 4-0, fantastic season so far, and I'm expecting a lot of us tonight.
Yeah, we also might have a bit of a surprise in tonight, as last night we had a matchup between, like I said, Shenandoah taking on Fisher. And we got to see a little bit of Eyes, the substitute for this roster on the Palutena. So might see more of that tonight because the Palu looked pretty good against Fisher and might have earned his way into some more live action playtime. And we'll see, right? Take it game by game, character by character. And, you know, I got to talk to Captain Igloo a little bit before the series, and it was sort of, you know, going to be more of the same tonight. Not expecting anything crazy, which we've seen against some of the stronger teams in this group. You know, SU not afraid to switch up their tried and true strategy and order and mindset. But tonight, not expecting that. Expecting a lot of business as usual from the boys and expecting the gameplay to take care of itself.
Yeah, you know, I was also there when you were talking to Captain Igloo, and he was mentioning business as usual. We don't really think we need to change anything up against this team. We think that at our skill level, with how confident we feel right now, we shouldn't really try too much.
Yeah, plenty of, and not only is our strategy and formula, like I said, tried and true. It's been tried and was true against this Radford squad. Like it's there's this matchup has been played, and SU has come out on top most of the time. Now, it's been a minute since we've seen SU compete in NACE. Their last matchup, being against Full Sail, who at the time was also competing for the top of the bracket. Since then has been on a bit of a skid, but Willie absolutely showed out in that series. We can look at these numbers from now what feels like forever ago, but remembering that performance, 10 stocks taken, only 2 stocks lost. Willie absolutely taking over that series in what ended up being a decently close matchup, but SU ultimately walking out pretty comfortably on top in the end.
Yeah, it took them 2 sets to take care of that match. And looking at the stats, I got a stat sheet over here. Willie played absolutely insane, as we see right here. We also had a really good game out of Kip that time. Those 2 alone took care of set number 2, each getting 6 stocks, which absolutely incredible play from both of those players. I'm interested to see who's going to step up tonight. It's games like this where usually we see our individual talent shine. We see some of these players that are ranked in Virginia. Our players are highly ranked in Virginia, just kind of shine and have absolutely no contests whatsoever, taking the entire team stock sometimes.
Yeah, this team is certainly no strangers to being in the spotlight and taking care of business by themselves. The good news is they never need to. This team is very well balanced, and the talent is pretty well spread out between the 4 of them. But yeah, you're right. There have been nights where we send in Kip first as the huge, and he walks out with 12 stocks, and we go, oh, all right, well, I guess we can put someone else in and get some play time. We haven't seen that in a while because SU's, I would say, level of competition has increased quite a bit from last semester and last year all around. But I'm not saying we should expect that tonight, and frankly, we should ever expect that. But with the differential between these 2 teams, I mean, you saw the numbers. This is one of those opportunities where, yeah, we genuinely might see one of these SU players just sort of take over and we walk out of here.
Yeah, and I'm interested because I'm interested on the matchups tonight. Now, we did hear from Avery. None of Radford's players are particularly high ranked whatsoever. But at the same time, it's interesting to see how everyone plays these characters. And I'm a big when I cast Tekken, a big thing I noticed is that every single character has their go-to moves, they have their go-to strategies, but everybody plays them slightly different. So I think a big thing I want to look out for tonight during my first time casting Smash is how these players play differently from what I've seen in the past.
No, absolutely. Yeah, with these characters that we mentioned earlier, right, we've got King K. Rool, Toon Link, and Incineroar, right? These are characters that are just sort of strange, or not strange, but like they kind of have their own niche. King K. Rool is like just a heavyweight. Incineroar is a heavyweight, but also more of like a grappler, if that's a thing in Smash. But yeah, like you do see some serious variation in their play. We got to see a King K. Rool. Oh, I forget which team it was now. That SU matched up against, and that K. Rool blew my mind. He took multiple stocks off of our team, off of multiple players, but it was very like aerial based. His go-to kill move was an up air, and that's something I'm not used to seeing from a K. Rool, but it worked, and it absolutely is a kill move. So little things like that, these are characters that we don't see all the time, that could be a factor in throwing the team off. Last night we got to see, again, in that Fisher matchup, one of the Fisher players made a switch to Diddy Kong. That's a character I haven't seen in forever, and I think it got the team a little rattled. Thankfully, they were able to overcome that. That was set 3, and they clawed their way all the way back. But yeah, like playing against characters that you don't see all the time can sometimes be enough to totally throw off your rhythm and can cause some serious waves in a crew battle.
Yeah, and it's a big thing because I've noticed a lot that our team struggles sometimes when, like you were mentioning, they struggle when the flow kind of just diverts, the momentum goes the other way and it takes a minute for them to get back into their groove. But I think that's one of their goals this season is to overcome that and do a bit better in terms of, momentum swings and stuff throughout the season.
Yeah, and so far they have. We saw the numbers. SU currently undefeated in NACE and absolutely looking to punch their ticket to a LAN, hopefully. I mean, we all saw Igloo come in here and slam our desk in excitement after a huge win over ODU. They beat FIU as well. All these teams at Delaware that are listed at the top of the group standings. SU has beaten most of them. The only games left are the teams at the bottom of the group. So SU very confident in where they're at right now in these standings. And a lot of it has boiled down to, being able to adapt to uncomfortable situations. And I think a lot of it boils down to Captain Igloo, we talk about all the time, puts in so much effort and research and preparation time to get the team in a position where they are ready to succeed, but also ready for the competition that's ahead of them. And I think that's why maybe they do get a little extra thrown off when they see a character that they're not used to, because they have such a blueprint in their head of how the series might go. And Igloo tends to be right, but where credit is due is where this team can adapt and thrive when the blueprint is not shaping out to be what they thought it would. And so far, they have overcome that multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing you notice in every esport, every sport. Over-preparation sometimes leads to what we were just talking about. But I feel like we have been more flexible this year, We've seen, we aren't afraid to switch characters up if needed, Igloo coming out on the Samus.
Yep.
Willie always, going back and forth between Terry and Kazuya. Which, by the way, interested to see who you think he pulls out tonight.
Yeah, it's going to depend on probably whoever he's matched up to in the moment. Looking at the characters right now, I would say probably we're going to get a Kazuya night. I'm thinking King K. Rule's heavy and gets hit easily. Lucina and Mario is a little weird. I honestly would not expect Willie to get matched up into them if I had to bet. But if he does, I don't know. That one's hard for me. I guess we'll get there when we get there. But Incineroar, same thing. Heavyweight gets hit easily and sort of falls into your moves. And then Zelda, and now we do know that Willie hates Toon Link. Yeah. Just period. So I don't know if that means he doesn't want to match into it or if he wants to go in and wax any Toon Link player for playing Toon Link, because it's mental warfare for Willie, and a mental block for him is definitely Toon Link.
Yeah, just gonna pick Kazuya, go in there, try to prove a point, because big scary demon man.
Exactly.
As a wise man once called
Kazuya.
Yeah,
all those. An electric wind god fist when you see it.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I'm kind of glad that we have a Kazuya on the team. I got at least a little bit of familiarity. Jeez, coming into this, but how do you feel about Eyes? Eyes came out last night. Played, I think that was first official game.
I believe so.
First official game appearance.
Yeah. As far as I understand, I wasn't unfortunately here with the team when they were competing. We were on fall break the last 2 days, but players still showed up and competed at their normal scheduled time. So proud of them. But we were not here. I got to watch on Igloo's stream, and I assume it was a decision made by Igloo that AJ was struggling with the matchups that he was given, and I think it was a decision to try to switch things up and see if it would work any better, putting Eyes in that spot. And AJ had not taken a stock yet through 2 sets, and Eyes goes in and immediately takes one at his first opportunity. And it was an important stock, too. taking out, I believe it was a Kazuya that he took out the last remaining stock of. So I liked what I saw. I saw a lot of confidence on stage, especially. I would like to see a bit more confidence off stage, and I'm hoping we'll see maybe a little bit more of that today. But just fundamentally, he looks very comfortable in his character, which is a big deal, obviously. And Palutena's simple. Like, let's not lie to ourselves. The Palutena combos are neutral air into neutral air into neutral air into potentially another neutral air. Like, let's not blow our heads up trying to overthink this. Like, this is, very simple stuff, but he's confident in it. And I have a lot of respect for that. So I'm excited to see more of it. I think we do need to see more of it before we get a good feel for, where this player actually lands on the team. But definitely exciting outlook, if nothing else.
Yeah, very exciting outlook. We've had a main core 3 for pretty much the past 2.5 or so years here, maybe 3, where it's always been it's ever since they got here. It's always been Willie, Kip, and Igloo. And that 4th has always, been interchanged a lot. And so trying to find someone that matches the mental of the rest of our team, matches the passion, because I come in here pretty much 95% of the time I come in here. That entire team is here playing friendlies. They're doing their own tournaments or something online, trying to learn new combos, even though they pretty much already know everything there is to know about every single character in the game. So it's really inspiring when I come in here and I see that. And I think that when I come in, I see the same thing from Isaiah.
Yeah. I am hoping that this, works out. And I believe AJ is preparing to graduate soon as well. So, in terms of future of the team and development, getting a young player like this some serious game time in high-level competition, I think will go a long way in the future of this team because, unfortunately, AJ is not the only one prepping to graduate soon, right? Igloo, Kip, and Willie soon, all on their way out in their upperclassmen years. So I'm excited seeing young blood on the team, and we have our academy team as well. They have not been on stream as much, but they've been doing their thing, working to improve themselves, and hopefully find themselves on this stage as well. So I'm excited for the future of the team. I'm excited for the young players. I think it looks good right now, but I most importantly am excited to see more of this Palutena.
Yeah, and we were going back and forth a second ago. Simple character. I'm interested because it's not simple to me, really. I haven't learned anything about it. But you mentioned, could be at some points just neutral air, neutral air, neutral air.
Literally.
Going back and forth, kind of just like, reminds me of Electric Wind Godfist and Tekken, just 5 million times in a row.
And it combos into itself.
Yep. Combos into itself. And also, just going from Tekken to Smash, obviously, the defining feature of Tekken is 3D. Mm-hmm. The defining feature of Smash, it's a platform fighter. Mm-hmm. Adds that whole new dynamic to a fighting game, whether you want to call it a fighting game or not, depending. But I'm just excited to just learn. Yeah. Just learn more.
Yeah, we're gonna get some good Smash here tonight, and I'll try to point things out as I see them, and I'll definitely be pointing out Palutena neutral air combos when they happen, because they will happen. And I believe we got to see a button check on our end, and we saw that Eyes was in the button check, and I've been bit on this so many times, I don't know if that officially means that he's starting or not. But it, looks like it, because we have a stage pick in and we're getting ready to get into this arena, and Eyes is still in.
Yeah, I think every time they load in the button check that you have to stick with that character.
That's my understanding, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how that works. And assumingly, based on what we're seeing right now, and what the producer just said in my ears, that is in fact the case.
Yeah, so looks like we will have fresh faces on stream here. First time on mainstream, because last night was not able to be streamed. So Not his first competitive game on varsity, but his first time on our show. Prepping for Eyes to make his appearance here on this Palutena, and gets matched into Riled on the Mario. So two very straightforward, simple, fundamental characters here, as you'll see. Oh, Mario has combos like that where he can string his up air into more up airs usually, but for Mario, he's got a few different, a little more niche kill options in the form of his forward air, which has a spike hitbox, as well as he charges up this hose that he's got called Flood from Mario Sunshine. If you're familiar with that. And he can literally just like push you away from the ledge if he gets an opportunity.
Yeah, and another thing that I'm seeing so far is that they're kind of just like feeling each other out for the most part, but it's led to a lot of damage taken here from Eyes and kind of struggling to get as many hits in until now. I believe we just saw what you were talking about before.
Yeah, so that was, I believe, only 2 neutral airs comboing into. These are the up airs, which is Palutena's other combo. You're going to see a lot of that. That is this character. But you're right, a lot of this so far has been, just a lot of footsies sort of dancing around each other, as finally we do have our first stock taken, and it is Eyes losing his first, but promptly lands and gets a nair back. So yes, that first stock was pretty heavily Mario finding a lot of blows, playing fast around Palutena's hitboxes, but just like that, a good ledge trap forces Mario to land uncomfortably close to Palutena, and Eyes is ready for it with a forward smash.
Yeah, now one thing you did notice before is that you would like to see Eyes be a little bit more comfortable off the stage. Now, we haven't seen too much of that just yet. Eyes opting to play it mostly safe at the time being. And it's led to pretty much a back-and-forth game so far.
Yeah, thankfully we haven't seen too many scenarios where I feel like Eyes needs to go off stage. So far that's a plus, but yeah, when we see Mario off stage and going below the stage, this is an example of where, I don't hate it in that scenario, but if we find ourselves in that same exact situation again, I would like to see Eyes switch it up and go down there, try to punish something, because Mario's recovery is pretty linear. But we'll see, right? You can only plan for those occasions when you get there. So another down tilt at the ledge. That one does catch. That hitbox lasts a while. So it is a good ledge trap move to use, but it just seems to be the go-to every time for Eyes. I'd like to see a little more variation.
Yeah, not too much variation, but almost finding another stock there and not really able to. A little bit more footsies that we're seeing. I'm used to this. I'm used to this from Street Fighter and Tekken. Playing a little bit of mind games here.
Yeah, both of these characters at very high percentages, right? And now it is, you sit in neutral and neither one wants to be the one to overstep. So neutral air lands. Mario now up to 145. Eyes did catch the air dodge there, but wasn't able to punish it, and unfortunately leads himself right into a Mario up smash. So losing that second stock, unfortunately now on pace to lose this if he can't take the next stock first, assuming he takes this one quickly.
Yeah, a little bit of a scary situation. Not too scary, though. Mario is at 145%, like you mentioned. Still trying to find an opening. Unable to so far. Mario just chipping away at Eyes. He's getting sent off stage here. Looking for a little bit of edge guarding there. Not able to do too much. Mario get back on stage, but almost gets sent off. Still saving that stock here at 176%.
Yeah, and Palutena has these has kill moves in the form of her back air and dash attack, which I believe Eyes has landed both of in his last 2 contacts on this Mario, and neither one is killed. There we go. Finally, a back air does take that stock, but Eyes eating a lot of damage along the way. So now we do see the Nair combos coming through, right? This is going to be the moneymaker for Eyes to get back into this and try to even this percentage out before it becomes unwinnable. But now up air starting to land and widening the gap. And now back air lands as well to send Eyes off stage. Aggressive up smash into up smash from Riled there. Neither one connecting. And Eyes, again, just looking to sort of play the neutral game, find his damage where he can, but not finding many of these Nair strings that would generate the percentage he needs.
Yeah, Mario really not giving up much of an opening there to Eyes. Every time able to get a few hits in, just like we saw right there, but isn't it really able to get any huge damage shots in so far? And it's a little bit dangerous right now. You're at 126%. You're getting a few hits in here and there, but it's kind of a struggle at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. This has been a struggle for Eyes. I'm also noticing that Eyes is getting pretty comfortable in his shield, and that scares me a little bit if an opponent's able to catch on to that. As great spot dodge there to avoid some danger, but back air lands. Does up B back to the ledge, loses invincibility, the dash attack goes wide, but back air's the shield and will get up smashed out of it. So Radford strikes first, wins the first head-to-head, but Eyes still holding his own, trading 2 for 3. If you're going to go down, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, didn't pick up all 3 stocks there, but did have a good showing, taking 2 there. It keeps the stocks for both teams evened out. Puts the rest of the team in a good position to continue the set and hopefully take it. Now, one thing I want to ask you about, as someone that doesn't know Smash very well, I felt like I noticed Eyes may have been playing not as confident as they should have been.
I think I would agree. I think there was maybe a little bit of nerves there. And yeah, overall, maybe a little bit of a lack of confidence. But I also think that over the course of that matchup, it got better. So yeah, I think maybe shaking some rust off, getting settled in too. And it's tough because not only is this Eyes' first time on our stream, being broadcast to whoever's watching at home, he also had to start, which is scary in itself because you don't know what you're going into. But I am happy with what I saw. Again, it's little things like the neutral game, trying to find your openings. I think he was seeing moments, but sort of hesitating a little too long, and then those windows close. So nothing that I'm concerned about. But again, if you're going to go down, strictly speaking, right, this is a numbers game, and only one person can walk away with 3 stocks in that head-to-head because the opening matchup is extremely important. So if you're going to go down, that's easily the best way to do it, because if you've got opening matchups where you're going down 3-1, 3-0, that's an easy way for one team to blow the whole thing open and put it out of reach before it even starts.
Yeah, and you were talking about before, first time on stream, first time starting the match. And when I played Tekken, and the first time I was on stream, I noticed that I was kind of resorting back to the basics.
Yeah.
And it's stressful. It's not an easy spot to be in. So getting 2 stocks there, huge plays out of Eyes, and it sets up Kip to try and take this last stock from the Mario.
Yeah, exactly. The reason I'm saying it's such a big deal that he got 2 stocks is because this is a team game, right? This is not normal Smash Bros. You do have players behind you that have to make up ground, or have to cover ground of their own. So again, only 1 stock to make up for SU, and you've got some serious heavy hitters behind you. No disappointed at all from Eyes. As now, yes, the usual starter goes in, and we'll see if he's able to take care of business. Obviously, best case scenario, right, going into this without losing a stock, but we'll see if it happens, right? You and Kevin and I up here all the time would say, can never complain about trading 1 for 1, but certainly would like to walk away without losing a stock, all right? So, Pac-Man doing pretty good so far, but now getting traded the other direction does avoid that forward air. That is one of those kill moves that can surprise you in the middle of those up air strings, but Kip more than ready for it. Grab goes wide. But both of these players now starting to climb in the percentage game and could go down soon.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth play here. One thing I've noticed, I feel like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like the Mario's playing a bit more aggressive against Kip, and whether that's because of the matchup or because only have 1 stock left. However, that 1 stock now gone. Kip takes the last stock from Mario.
Yeah, I think they were playing very aggressive, but I also think it was a lot of matched aggression from Kip. I think this riled player from Radford was playing very fast around his, neutral airs and back airs in the neutral game. And while Eyes was sort of fishing for openings, Kip was just meeting him. And that's the truth. It's what makes Kip so lethal, are these neutral game plays on Pac-Man when he's not afraid to go fisticuffs with you. If he doesn't need his hydrant, that's an uncomfortable place to be in. And we didn't see many hydrants there. So Kip obviously very comfortable. Did get close, admittedly. He did eat quite a bit of percentage there, but not losing his stock means that none of that percentage matters, and we're a tie game at 9.
Yeah, a lot of aggression, but it just works out, Sometimes Kip just doesn't need the hydrant, don't need any items. Felt confident in his skills to be able to just straight up take the stock there from Mario.
Yeah, just box with you, right? Pac-Man can abandon his projectile game and play with his back airs and his side Bs off of combos and stuff. So yeah, got a strong showing from Kip. Obviously that's to be expected, honestly, from this team, and especially again given the history between these two schools. A lot of familiarity, similar roster for Radford over the years. I forget off the top of my head if this is the exact same roster from last time we played them, but ultimately Kip obviously very comfortable in these situations, and now is when you have to be a little bit afraid. Again, you saw the numbers just like we did. This is scary territory for any team because Kip always has these opportunities to blow this series open, or blow this set open at least. And unfortunately for opposing teams, there is still Igloo and Willie sitting behind this Pac-Man.
Yeah, you get through Kip and you're like relieved, and then you see who's on the other side. Yeah. It's like, oh my goodness. Now, as we see right here, we now have Teehee on the Incineroar coming in for Radford. How do you feel about this matchup?
I think it's gonna be hard for Incineroar. The big thing though is that I know that Kip personally has struggled with Incineroars in the past. I think part of what he's going to have to play around are those side Bs. You just saw 2 in a row from Incineroar. Both get snuffed by the hydrant. So expect to see more of that, right? Playing on the safe side of the hydrant, but bang, side B comes out the moment Incineroar crosses. He's going to be looking for a lot of these grabs, a lot of the command grabs or his normal grab, but Kip stringing the damage together and makes one early read on a tech and already catching a forward smash to the face.
Yeah, only taking 30% damage here so far. Kip playing a little bit of mind games, playing that projectile game, looking for the cheese, some might say. And able to take 1 stock so far, and also a lot of damage here in the second stock for the Incineroar.
Yeah, Kip, again, like, this matchup on paper seems pretty one-sided to me. Incineroar, again, just a slow, bigger character that gets hit by things. And what does Pac-Man have? A lot of hitboxes. Yeah. So Kip goes for a forward smash there, trying to maybe just take this stock early and move on. Does get punished for it as it goes wide. But now, what in the... Wow, that almost made me say something on broadcast that I have not said. That was a new one from Kip, scooping the hydrant with his up smash. I don't think I've ever seen that, at least
just
from
go
Kip.
Backwards?
But yeah, that time around, another stock taken. Kip starting to get things rolling here.
Yeah, absolutely no remorse there with one of the... I have never seen what he did with that fire hydrant.
Yeah, that was a new one for me.
At the same time here, Incineroar already down to 96% and down the third stock too.
I mean, just like that.
I mean,
this is... I hate to say I told you so, but it's the kind of thing, yeah, right before that game, I said this is where teams need to look out because Kip has... historically had the ability to quote-unquote blow this thing open, and here we are about 2 minutes later with Kip 3 stocks in hand and 3 stocks taken. So, yeah, dangerous territory now for Radford as they fall 3 stocks behind in the blink of an eye. We have these replays now we can look back at, all the way back at this Mario game as well. Mario losing that stock. Just unfortunate. Couldn't make it back. Mario not with the best recovery. But up B's out of the side B there, and then again, yeah, an early call out in a matchup where they had not played against each other for very long. And then the Bells, this King K, or not King K rule, this Incineroar struggling to avoid the Bells, and obviously, you know, Kip, one of the players that, or one of the things that makes him so good at Pac-Man is that he can feel out when players are getting real uncomfortable around the Bell.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to ask was, when you, if you're Radford and you know that Incineroar in a Pac-Man just doesn't really bode well, how do you play around that? Do you just say, you know, screw it, we're going to stand out the Incineroar, or do you maybe look for a different character to go in?
It's kind of tough because obviously everybody has their own preferences. Like, we can sit here all day and say that, yeah, on paper that looks pretty Pac-Man favored to me, but even in that example, I know that historically Kip has struggled with Incineroars in the past. So, like, you know, maybe that player has matchup experience into Pac-Mans. Maybe, you know, on paper he did not see what I saw. It's hard to say, right? Because everybody's different, and I'm not in that room. But ultimately, a decision that will now have to be reconsidered in a future set. If they look to avoid that matchup, if they're able to. Again, like, you might get to a position where, you know, Kip is going on these runs and you just don't have options. So you got to go in there and say, hey, take one if possible, and, you know, lighten the load for everybody else. But just not able to do it that time. And now 3 stocks down, and Kip is already chugging through this. Toon Link stocks as well.
Yeah, Toon Link already at 133. Never mind, at 0% here, and stock 1 is taken from Toon Link. Kip just on a roll right now, unable to be stopped. Seems like his game plan is just working from the get-go.
Yeah, very early success already, and now slowing it down, right? I think he sees what percentage he's at and is like, okay, I guess I can sit back and just chip away. But Toon Link can match that. Toon Link has many projectiles in his arsenal, as now forward smash goes wide, and Toon Link gets an opportunity to punish, but can't really put it together. But now we're starting to see the bombs come out. Again, the projectile game sort of matched by Toon Link because, yeah, if Kip is going to make the decision to slow this down and play that game, Toon Link is totally fine with that. It's just going to be a matter of who can play it better, and I'm sure both of them in their own minds think they can do it.
Yeah, just projectiles galore everywhere on the stage at the moment. Haven't really been able to find any hits in a little while. Until now, you know, both players floating around the same amount of percentage. Kip taking this third stock these amount of stocks he has seriously, trying to keep them, as he's playing for the long game.
Yeah, and a big difference between these two characters is that I really don't think that, I don't think that Toon Link has many kill options in the form of projectiles. Like, he can chip you up as much as he wants, but eventually he's going to have to go up and, land a back air like he just did, or some other aerial, some other smash attack to take a stock finally. Whereas Kip has options, has the apple, has the key, has ways of confirming kills from his projectiles. So, bit of a difference in style there, but ultimately Toon Link able to confirm one of those stocks and take one of his own to even this out, but hardly even when you look at the percentage, as Toon Link is all the way up to 177 and still can't avoid that apple as it was crawling towards him. But Toon Link just running out of options there.
Yeah, not many options whenever you have a Kip just bombarding you with projectiles. And now, however, he is at 107%. The Toon Link is going to want to take this stock. That is the end goal. You want to at least take this second stock from Kip, make it a little easier on the rest of your teammates, because you're down a good bit right at the moment.
Yeah, 107%. This Toon Link has absolutely been holding their own, especially after the first 30 seconds when Kip said, all right, I am going to slow this thing down. Toon Link's matched it pretty successfully. Just, again, now is the awkward part where you have to go up and get close and take that stock with your sword. So Kip's going to do everything in his power to avoid that situation entirely, and now tries to catch that jump. Can't quite do it. But now fish for another key, I assume. Never mind, it's a bell. And it does connect. We haven't seen many bells yet in this matchup specifically, so it's hard to say how Dat Boy will react. But now you're starting to see it come out, and Dat boy struggling to avoid it.
Yeah, that boy struggling a little bit to avoid that. I mean, it's kind of tough when, you're just getting hit by everything under the sun. You're at 126%, but Kip at 113. There is a chance that this Toon Link can take a stock. Not able to get a little bit of damage in there, but again, playing very slow, waiting for an opening, and then pouncing on that opportunity.
Yeah, but won't be able to get that opportunity this time as the back air connects. And Kip, once again, chugging through these stocks. I mean, comes in with only 10 stocks to work, or 10 stocks ahead of him instead of his usual 12 when we usually see him come in first. But making quick work of it, only losing one along the way. And just like that, Radford's on their last 3 stocks.
Yeah, this is a tough scene here for Radford. Yeah, Kip playing really well as we see here. Looking at these replays, big game of just projectiles. Starting to wait it out after a little bit of aggression shown from Kip at the start of this matchup. Dialed it back a little bit. Realized, okay, Toon Link's got projectiles. I think my projectiles are better. Let's play that game. I'm down to play that game. And as we saw, worked out for him in the end.
Exactly, yeah, and again, I think it really does boil down to, we're seeing Kip live to these high percentages, but I think Kip was confident in his ability to avoid the kill moves. He knows what would kill him, and he's able to just avoid those moves, and now we cut straight to live as we have Radford's final player in Radford's final 3 stocks in the form of this K-Rule. So, again, a tough matchup on paper for the K-Rule, but I've been proven wrong shockingly recently about King K-Rule on this broadcast. So Kip, gonna be looking to find these strings, and string together these sort of boxing combos, the aerial combos with the forward airs, with the Galagas, the neutral airs, and all that. Because again, similar to Incineroar, King K. Rool is just a big body that gets hit by things. So, expecting more of the same here from Kip.
Yeah, and as that stock gets taken, Kip now down to 1 stock. Is the feeling here trying to just, get through this last player on Radford, or are you just going to play aggressive, see how many stocks you can take, and let the rest of your team clean it up?
If I didn't know any better, I'm saying Kip is just looking to take 1, maybe 2. Right, you've more than done your job. But I do know Kip. I know this team, and I absolutely know that he's going to look to try it and just close this out himself. And that's one way to start it. King K. Rool not able to make it back on that one, and now Kip's shield getting real low, but the side B super armor still not enough. Oh no, Kip trying to take King K. Rool far off stage, promptly gets reversaled. That back air is lethal, and I believe hit the spike hitbox, but might not have needed it with how close they were to that blast zone. Kevin's in the chat right now. Our resident King K. Rool player. Saw that one coming.
That was a mean right hook, by the way.
That was crazy. That move hurts.
I don't think I've seen that move before. Is that common for something like that to happen?
It's a weird move because it's his back air, and it really doesn't look like a back air. It looks like a Mario forward air or something like that. But yeah, it's a weird one, and it's one that can really catch you off guard, which I think is exactly what happened here, right? Kip saw the vision of trying to take King K. Rool far off stage right here, right? He's got an opportunity. Yep, Galaga lands. All right, let's see if we can just steal this stuff. Oh. Ooh. You kind of forget about it, and especially when you know that King K. Rool was facing the stage, right? The back air's facing the wrong way. But King K. Rool doing a good job to fall out of the combo and drift in a way after Kip used that down air that the stars aligned and you're getting Knuckles sending you down to the blast zone.
Or mean right hook straight down to the ground. Now, what we mentioned before is now come to fruition. You got through Kip. Fantastic, high fives to your teammates, but now go to the rest of the SU team, which might be a little bit of a surprise we have here. AJ going in on Falco.
Yeah, so I assume this is, again, a Captain Igloo decision to probably sit himself, if I had to bet. You know, if things are going awry, I have to imagine we're going to see Willie come in on Kazuya and take care of business. But I like this decision because, again, if Igloo is starting to weigh in his head, you know, which of these players can take stocks in different scenarios, yeah, you have an opportunity to let them both play in the same set. I think that's a great decision for Igloo to make and for these players to have an opportunity to show what they're made of.
Yeah, and AJ doing a really good job here so far. Both percentages pretty even at the moment. AJ looking for a combo. Going to get a little bit of damage in here. Now, King K. Rool at 115%. Shields up for both players. Come out of it straight into a grab there from K. Rool into a stock taken. Now 2-2. K. Rool hoping to try to run the gauntlet to take set one for his team.
Yeah, going to be a tall mountain to climb for Populist Bark on the King K. Rool. But, you know, at this point, yeah, like you are just kind of you take this one stock at a time. You get what you can. And, you know, obviously if it works out, that's incredible. But can't get too ahead of yourself just yet, as we are seeing some success against AJ, but a nice little jump off the ledge into back air. Will confirm that stock at a very high percentage. But Populist Bark here already threatening another stock off AJ, and that's the kind of thing that could, you know, if you get through AJ here having only lost one stock, I mean, we see Willie do it all the time. That's money in comebacks like these.
Yeah, a couple whiffs there from both players. Shield up, gonna protect AJ, looking for a combo out of it. Gonna get some good damage in. However, gets grabbed and the stock gets taken from him. Now both King K. Rool and our very own AJ sitting at one stock each.
Yeah, this is that's where that side B super armor value is very real, leading directly to that grab. And K. Rool definitely having the vision, seeing that play develop way before it did, sitting on the platform and knowing that if AJ lands here, I'm going to grab him and I'm going to throw him right into that blast zone. So good awareness from K. Rool. AJ sort of fallen into the trap and now starting to get high up there in the percentage game. That dash attack has a block. Oh man, that cannonball scared me a little bit, but I don't think it had a hitbox. Wow, Populist goes up with a big read there and catches AJ's jump. I mean, we know Falco's going to play in the air, and King K. Rool just goes out there and throws an up air, and it connects. And AJ, just like that, off your screen, and Shenandoah now down to their last player.
Yeah, that was really good work there from the K. Rool. A lot of good reads coming through pretty much the entire way through that matchup. AJ able to take, I believe, one stock?
Yeah.
One stock there from the K. Rool. But losing 3, now we're down to SU 3 stocks, Radford at 1, as we take a look at some of these replays. A lot of back and forth, but the K. Rool just kind of winning the mind games.
Yeah, a lot of AJ landing on K. Rool. I mean, that was what Populist here started to catch on to and punish as the series went on. And just like that, you know, the dash attack with that belly armor and then again landing or attempting to land on him there, just this time around K. Rool meeting him up in the air and surprise, your stocks are gone. So now SU again on their last player, and like I said, I have to imagine this will be a Willie Kazuya to go in and take care of business, as SU again, I think in that situation is sort of experimenting with their stocks, knowing that they have a lead. And now it's time to go in and, all right, let's let's clean this up, take care of business, and get on with it.
Yeah, send Big Scary Demon Man in there, and that is what we've done. As we have Willie on Kazuya, going to take a little bit of damage, but here it comes, Electric Wind Godfist. Unable to continue the rest of the combo, but it doesn't matter, because you can just grab again, because why not? And you grab again, because why not?
Oh, and he gets the parry off the back air. Now, on the platform, does shield the stun there, so King K. Rool living to fight another day, avoids the stun off the ledge as well. So clinging to this stock is Populist, and now starting to find some damage of his own, but shoots a cannonball the wrong direction, and Willie's going to get a grab for it. K. Rool with a great recovery. Not out of it yet, but now up to 158% and still has not taken a stock off Willie. Pretty scary if you're looking to take all these stocks. Again, shielding the stun, but Willie falling right into a down smash there, but just shield pokes out of that one. Now 200% on this K. Rool. You know he's going to try to cheese these stocks in this type of situation, but can't quite do it. Willie takes care of business, trades 1-for-1 in the head-to-head, but looking pretty comfortable along the way, and now SU cement themselves up 1-0 in this series.
Yeah, that's the Willie we know. We know what Willie can do, and he just displayed it right there. I don't know. There were like 4 grabs back to back. He whiffed a couple of punches after the grabs, but just relentless. Did not let him up. A few times the King K. Rool got caught back towards Willie, and that cost him a lot of damage there in that matchup.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. It's oppressive. It's Kazuya. One interaction leads to, okay, I'm grabbed. How do I get out of it? Oh, he's still on top of me. Like, okay, I'm grabbed again. It quickly spirals. I like the aggression. K. Rool got the jump read there. I have to imagine was going to look for a back air spike and again just try to, steal a stock where you can at low percentage and keep him in it. But just not enough in the grand scheme of things. So Shenandoah now moves to set 2 with a lead in the series and now has a decision to make because, again, clearly this series is a bit of experimentation time for Captain Igloo, and now it's a matter of, all right, we've seen Eyes play, we've seen AJ play. They had different matchups against different players, but do you start changing it around? Do you start, putting these players in different matchups to see how they respond to different scenarios? I think they will and probably should, but it's a matter of when.
Yeah, with how good the teams are that they've been facing and possibly will face in the future, now is kind of the time to figure that out. How do your players play in different situations? How confident do they play? What do they need to change? What do they need to what do they need to stay the same? And what we saw there was really good tape. That is really good for the future of the team. Know what they're good at, know what they need to fix, know the orders that would work, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, and I think the correct answer, and I'm cheating a little bit here because I can see our switch, but I think the correct answer, if we're trying to experiment and put players in different scenarios, is to probably start AJ here, because you can't start Kip. He might just kill them all. Yeah, and then,
That's true.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, you don't have anybody to test against.
But you can't start Eyes either because you just did that. And if we're looking for variety, then what's the point? And you can't start Willie, and you can't start So I think it's just simple process of elimination here. I think it makes sense to start AJ, and I'm looking ahead, and it looks like that's what we're going to do. The question is, does Radford switch up who they start? And now we did just get our reveal, and it looks like Radford will be sending in a Pikachu, who was not on my list. Not sure if that's a player we've seen already on a different character, or if this is a completely new player, but either way, different matchup for AJ than he just had, which is good news.
Yeah, very good news there for AJ. Plus, gives us exactly what we were talking about, variation. We get tape on different things instead of if AJ just played the K. Rool again. Now, here's the thing to think about is, what does Radford do? They kind of, I'm assuming they know what's happening, SU trying out some different stuff than they have probably seen if they've watched any of our streams. One thing I'm thinking about is K. Rool was probably the best player of that set for their team.
Yeah.
How do you adjust your lineup to try and put yourselves in the best chance to win a set?
It's hard because now you know that SU is experimenting a little bit with their roster. So now it's hard for Radford to assume who they're going to see. But assuming you see the same players you saw in set 1, then I think it is just a matter of where did you lose ground and why. We saw Incineroar in that second matchup go up against Kip and get 3-stocked. Why did that happen? I think it was matchup as well as Kip quickly caught on to tendencies of that player that led to disaster for Radford. So I think that is a scorched earth, avoid that matchup at all costs now type thing. And you just sort of take it, stock by stock, where did we lose ground and why? And I have to imagine that, now it's just a min-max game of how can we lighten the load, you're right, for this K-Rule. Because clearly K-Rule is the one that can go in and make up ground, be the moneymaker for this team. We talked about it just last week with Smash. What makes SU Smash so lethal is that we have multiple moneymakers, and that's not common in collegiate crew battles. So Radford with a bit more standard structure, it's just going to be a matter of, how can you lighten the load for your anchor as much as possible and not consistently be putting them in situations where they need to go in and take 6, 7, 8, 9 stocks in a row, right?
Yeah. And the K-Rule, was in a tough spot, albeit did a really good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
As best of job as he could have.
Impressed me.
Especially going into the gauntlet. I mean, he had to take the stocks from Kip, had to take AJ out, and then had to take out our resident. Well, tried to take out our resident,
right?
Big scary demon man. Didn't work out very well there, but like you said, you want to try lighten the load for the K-Rule. The more you lighten the load for the K-Rule, the better chance you have at taking a set off of SU, especially when we might be testing things out, doing things we haven't done before.
Yeah. Radford's going to have to sort of look to, punish mistakes. Obviously, that's part of any esport, part of any competition, really. But now the reveal that we had, like we were talking about earlier, this Pikachu, again, you kind of have to assume that SU, after having won set 1, would not change anything. So, a little tough because SU is changing things in their own experimentation. So I have to imagine, this Pikachu, this Kirby by name, who is not playing Kirby, easily mistaken, but was probably expecting to go into the Palutena, didn't get it. So obviously that's already bad news for Radford, unless, you get lucky and you happen to like the Falco matchup, which... Oh man, 2 stage spikes in a row, didn't even need the second one as AJ was falling to the blast zone, and now this Pikachu does look real comfortable, I have to say, standing still, waiting for that air dodge and capitalizing with a grab. This Pikachu, I'm already through only like 30 seconds of gameplay, I'm surprised we did not see in set 1.
Yeah, I'm incredibly surprised as well. AJ already sitting at about 90% of his second stock, and that is now gone down to 1 stock. Pikachu only at 70% damage. AJ getting a few hits in, not able to keep him off the stage. Pikachu comes flying back in, now down to 90%.
Yeah, this is getting out of control quick for AJ. Again, those stage spikes are kind of crazy, I have to say. Those are weird angles coming out of Pikachu's down air, but a couple well-placed smash attacks there from AJ to finally get on the board and find some momentum of his own, settle into this matchup a little bit, because I'm sure he was caught off guard too. This player is coming in with some serious energy, but AJ now starting to find his rhythm, but gonna have to be ready for those stage spikes if he finds himself off stage, because again, clearly his recovery paths are becoming a bit predictable for this Pikachu. But again, now the last, I would say, minute of Smash Bros has been very much coming up AJ.
Yeah, a lot of momentum going back into his favor. A lot of damage coming in on the Pikachu. Pikachu now whiffing. AJ able to get that throw up into the sky. Looking for a few more hits. Gonna get another grab. Now the Pikachu's in a pretty bad spot here. 103% on the second stock. AJ looking to take it as early as possible. Keep as much health as he can going into that last stock if he can get there.
Yeah, AJ going for a lot of grabs there, and a lot of them working, and now Pikachu is starting to spot dodge him, trying to avoid that danger. But good news is Falco's grabs are not the most consistently lethal. So if you get hit with a grab, it won't instantly mean you lose your stock. We'll see what AJ does out of it, but might not be able to make it back from this. Does tech the stage spike and reverses it. I didn't even see what happened to Pikachu. Probably got hit by the up B hitbox somewhere, and this time around, AJ's ready for it with a response.
Yeah, AJ struggled a lot there at the start, but momentum has swung his way rapidly. Now looking at a chance to be able to take all 3 stocks from Pikachu. A little bit of a weird interaction there. Now AJ at 109% and Pikachu sitting at 62%. A little bit of back and forth. AJ looking for a couple of hits, not able to get it. Huge move there coming in from Pikachu. Both characters off stage, and AJ not able to get back onto it as he loses his last stock, but is able to take 2 away from Kirby.
Yeah, I have to say, huge fan of the poise there from AJ to not panic after 2 pretty ugly stocks, to settle back in and find his rhythm, get his download, and respond. Because this Pikachu caught all of us off guard, I think, and that was a shocking moment to be in for AJ, and I'm sure he wasn't fully ready for it. But not losing his composure, and you saw it, able to tech that stage spike the 3rd time, and get a stock of his own in response. That's great poise, and I really like that from AJ, even though he doesn't come out with 3 stocks. Again, that's crazy that stage spikes. Again, they go for another one when they didn't even need it. And then low percentage mistakes here. Another stage spike off of the recovery. Just not able to tech it, right? Obviously, if you're playing at a high level, you got to be able to hit those just about every time. But AJ with a response here. Again, well-placed up smash, well-placed down smash, catches both recoveries at the ledge. This one, again, yeah, AJ able to tech this and get a stock in response. Just ultimately not able to avoid this last one, but really like the poise, really like the ability to settle in, just unfortunately can't make that recovery the last time.
Yeah, maybe not able to take all 3 stocks, but I was really impressed with AJ there. I think that, down 1-3 in stocks, able to come back, take 2, puts Kip in a great position, as we see he's about to go in. But that also hits on what we were talking about beforehand. We were talking about a big thing that they've been working on this year. In the face of things they might not have expected, keeping that poise, keeping that confidence, and continuing to play well despite the circumstances.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about in the pregame. This is something that we did not see coming, and AJ able to absorb it and just deal with the brunt as much as possible and come out still with 2 stocks. Again, it's exactly what we said about Eyes in set 1. If you're going to go down, that's absolutely the best way to do it, and we've been seeing AJ struggle a little bit in these last few sets. That's a very different story. So, like what I see now, just putting Kip in position to try to, again, clean this 1 stock up, ideally without losing any of his. And we tie this thing up at 9, but can't talk too preemptively yet, as still got to go out there and do it.
Yeah, Kip not really able to find too much until now. Gets the grab through, able to get him off stage. Absolutely relentless.
But he ate his jump? Yes, he did.
And that's going to be the stock there for Pikachu. I was excited to see that matchup because we also didn't expect the Pikachu to come in at all. That was not on any of our, notes. And they played really well the first match. Played with a lot of confidence there, but not enough to take any stocks from Kip.
Yeah, it's a tough break. Again, it's patience and discipline to play against Pac-Man, get caught in this combo, and know to not press your jump button. But unfortunately, this Pikachu, getting a little scared, I think, in the moment. That eats that jump there. I did see it that time around, and can't make it back because of it. So, Kip also with the wherewithal to go for that and not overcommit, knowing that somewhere in there probably would jump. And just like that, we're tied at 9, and Kip is right back where we were just a set ago.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely wonderful plays there from Kip. Very, very good job at reading the Pikachu's play style pretty quickly. Went down a little bit of damage to start off with, but able to make that up pretty quickly. And now, Radford, you're tied, both sitting at 9 stocks each. Who do you send in?
It's hard. I don't know who else they have in their magical hat that we don't know about. But given what we saw last time, oh man, I wish I said this half a second sooner. I was thinking maybe you do continue this sort of mix-up game and throw in K-Rool now, because the K-Rool did not look too bad against Kip's Pac-Man. Granted, stocks were in his favor last time we saw these two players, but you know, I liked what I saw from the King K. Rool. I liked what I saw from King K. Rool after the Pac-Man matchup. Now, just a matter of putting out this fire and trying to deal with Kip now, and hopefully, you know, obviously you can only really pray that someone else on your team can deal with Willie later, but get there when you get there. And now Kip just getting the reads, right? You know that Kip was able to watch this King K. Rool play through the other matchups, right? Not just when Kip was playing, and making reads there. Catches the roll get up, and now has a jab lock again. Kip is very much in his element right now.
Yeah, playing with the utmost confidence. Knows exactly what his game plan is, and it's paying off in spades. Grab coming in there from Kip. Now the King K. Rool sitting at 90% on his second stock. Almost a kill shot there. But now King K. Rool going to get dribbled into the ground. Sitting at 120%. Kip looking for an item he likes. Not able to find it until he does, and he gets the bell, and the side B comes in. He is now sitting at 1 stock.
Yeah, this is spiraling really fast. In those first 2 stocks, King K. Rool landed one hit onto Kip each stock, and that was it. All of a sudden, this King K. Rool has handed the controller off, or you know, flipped a switch, because this is pedal to the metal aggression, and Kip is absolutely caught off guard right now. Forced to find his way back on stage, but he can't. All the way back up to 108%. And where we saw this King K. Rool kind of getting tossed around, sort of falling into combos, forced off stage. Now, the aggression has completely flipped 100% into the right category for King K. Rool.
Yeah, but as we say that, now King K. Rool sitting at 112%. Dropkick not able to hit, but those steps do. Not looking too great right now. Kip looking for an item he likes. Found one. Gonna try to look for an opening. Not able to find anything just yet. Avoiding the hat.
Yeah, and Kip opting to switch to the key, but doesn't quite connect. And now Super Armor will keep King K. Rool alive for now, but not for much longer, as the key does connect and takes that last stock off King K. Rool. So, where things got a little scary there, let's not sugarcoat that. King K. Rool clawing back pretty violently, but not enough to take a second stock off Pac-Man. And if you ask me, that's pretty bad news for the rest of this Radford roster that still has to deal with a pretty hot Pac-Man.
Yeah, you knew after the first set, you had to change it up. You couldn't send the Incineroar back out against Kip. It didn't work very well the first time. So you head to the player that played the best for your team, you know, in the previous set. That also does not work. He gets 1 stock, unable to get more than that, and you're kind of now in a bad spot when you're going into the rest of this SU team.
Right. I mean, like that. We said it between sets. That was your trump card. That was the moneymaker. That was the breadwinner. King K. Rool, the one player on Radford to go positive to get more than 3 stocks. That's now behind you, and with only 1 stock in their bag. So formula-wise, that's a bleak outlook for Radford, but you know, next man up, one stock at a time, right? Somebody's going to have to find a way to to put this all together if Radford is to stay alive in this series.
Yeah, and Kip getting out of there with at least 2 stocks is huge for Shenandoah. I feel like if you throw at some point the Incineroar is probably going to come back out unless you switch characters. I don't know if that player has another character in his bag, but Kip's in a really good position to take some more stocks for Shenandoah. You kind of just have to keep going. You have to have that mentality. Next, like you said, next man up. There's a job to be done. Someone's got to do it.
Absolutely, yeah. And you do raise a good point as well. The fact that Kip took those stocks, like, not only is it a big deal that SU avoided losing stocks to the King K. Rool, but the SU roster as a whole was struggling to take stocks off the King K. Rool, and now both of those obstacles now behind you. Kip still in a position to succeed, and now we have Riled back in on the Mario, the starter from set 1, and going right for the throat here, coming out swinging, to put it simply. But we kind of saw that from this Mario, right? He plays very fast, plays around his speed, and Kip has no jump here, but will be fine off of his 3rd trampoline. And now percentages evening out a little bit as Mario has struggled to find his way back in pretty much since the start.
Yeah, and we're kind of seeing the same thing we did the first time we saw these guys match up against each other, albeit Mario didn't have 3 stocks. Just a lot of fist fighting.
Yeah.
Pac-Man, Kip getting right up in Mario's face and just taking stocks like that. Now we're sitting at 2-2. Mario in a tough spot. You have Kip at 80%, but you have no momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to circle back to something you said in the pregame as well. Something that makes Kip so good at his character is how he plays his character uniquely, right? It's easy to look at projectile-based characters in this game and say, all right, like, you're a zoner, you're going to sit back, and if I get in your personal bubble, like, you're going to crumble. But what makes Kip so deadly on this character is that he is not afraid to play close quarters, to box with you, and still use his projectiles in that boxing game as he's able to catch Mario's drift there with a forward smash. Again, it's how you play the character, yes, is what makes your unique matchup difficult for people to deal with, but having multiple play styles within your own character is a different beast, and that is exactly what Kip is.
Yeah, the theme of this series has been adjustment, and that is for both teams. Who can adjust better? And now, that was a really close call there for the Mario, who's now going to take a 2nd stock from Kip, now sitting at 1, doing the best they can with what they were given. Kip just playing a little bit of the long game, looking for an item, keeping Mario away until he can find that item. But at the same time, getting a lot of damage in there on Mario.
Right, yeah, it's not getting much better, unfortunately, for Riled here on the Mario. Now up to 140 and off stage once again, and Kip is looking to set this hydrant up. Won't fall for it just yet. Goes for the grab, and the hydrant does fall short, but again, a little drift back there, connects with the apple, but it doesn't kill off the top. This blast zone is very high up, but this time around, catches Mario running right up to Pac-Man, and Kip says, nah, come on now. Throws the green fruit. That's more than enough to take a stock. And now Kip again in a uncomfortable position to close this thing out if you're Radford.
Yeah, Kip just throwing an absolute beamer right at Mario's face, able to take that last stock there. Now, what we saw there a little bit towards the end, he slowed down a little bit, comparatively. At least that's what I saw, and it worked out. Kip, this series and throughout the season, has shown just an absolutely wonderful ability to turn that switch on and off, like slow down when he needs to, go faster when he thinks it's useful, and it's just working out.
Yeah, I think a big thing that Kevin would talk about when he was on the desk is, playing or like establishing your own tempo. Like, we're going to play my game. You're going to be forced to play my game. And I think that's a big factor of what Kip's Pac-Man does. And really what Pac-Man does as a character is he drives the tempo. If Pac-Man decides that we're going to slow things down, we're going to slow things down. If Pac-Man decides that we're going to, box at center stage and, play quick, right? Then that's what we're going to do. But, you see these characters where they are forced to get up in Kip's face, and that's exactly the matchups where you're seeing Pac-Mans throw their hydrants down and sit behind them and, building terrain in any game. Is such a huge factor in that sort of tempo. And you're right. A player that's able to sort of manipulate that tempo, especially over the course of a single game or a single stock, can be. It makes you dizzy. It's enough to really throw you off in the moment, because your playstyle is then forced to change to keep up. And so far, Radford has not been able to keep up.
Yeah, and it just throws your predictions off. It throws your reads off, and then if you're not used to playing that way, all of your instincts go out the window. Now you're a little confused, you're playing less confident, and you're just playing from behind.
Yeah, it's a dangerous hole to be in. But last player up for Radford here. One player separating potentially a lost series and another set, depending on the outcome of this Toon Link, who now has to come in with 7 stocks ahead of him and take all of them. A very, very tough hill to climb, but this Toon Link and Toon Link Online is inherently pretty solid of a character, with these projectiles. A good little combo there, find some damage and get things rolling, but unfortunately has already eaten more percent than he's been able to dish on this first stock, and that is not the formula you want to be following if you're going to go on a 7-stock run.
Yeah, if you want to go on a 7-stock run, you want to get out of this with no stocks lost. Now, you can still technically do that, but you're in a really tough spot here, sitting at 111%. Just playing the long game, we mentioned before, because they're just throwing they're playing the projectile game. They're playing the long game, and Kip's like, I'm down to do that. Let's do that. I think I can win that out, as he goes and takes the first stock here from Toon Link. And Kip still only sitting at around 80% and looking to try to get out of this without having to go to another SU player.
Right, yeah. Again, we said it in the last set too, knowing Kip, he's got his eyes to close this thing out himself, right? If we can avoid going to another character matchup, let's do it. So Kip's going to look to do so. It will be tough, right? Up to 100%. He's not going to die to an aerial just yet, but definitely approaching that percentage. A boomerang aerial will do it. And Kip, unfortunately, not able to take care of business himself, but a very similar look to last set, as the last player does finally knock out Kip and has an opportunity to potentially go on a run here, depending on the next player for SU.
Yeah, and you didn't get the best thing, which was, taking that stock away from Kip without losing any of your own, but you got the second best thing. You're going into these next 2 matchups with 2 stocks. Here, as we take a look at some of the replays from that matchup. And still, it's tough, because look at the rest of the SU roster.
Right, and I hate to say it, as we make our way through these replays, you all saw what we saw there before we went into the replays. That looks like it is Willie sitting down in the hot seat. Coach Igloo making the decision that we won't see any more eyes here tonight, likely, unless Willie gets trounced here. In which case, it would probably be Igloo going in and not eyes. But ultimately, making the decision to just try to close this thing out now. Not let any more momentum build up like last set, because it did get a little uncomfortable for SU, I'm sure. I bet Igloo did not see us going all the way to Willie in the anchor, and maybe wants to not risk dropping a set and extending this thing another hour.
Yeah, because, there's a lot of tiebreakers that go into it as well, so if you have the chance to take 2 straight sets and not lose a set based off of just testing stuff around, you take that. You take that chance. And we are seeing that decision being made right now as we are going to have Willie go in on Kazuya.
Yeah, so the closer coming up from the anchor position and going in as player number 3 here for SU. See if it pays off. No warm-up needed for Willie. We're going to get right into this thing. And again, maybe this is a statement here from Willie. Maybe this is Willie calling his own number and saying, I want to show this Toon Link player that they should not be playing Toon Link. And so far, not doing any of that. As he has eaten 70% and has yet to find his way into any damage of his own. Now up to 90%, missing a couple grabs, but does find his way into one and can't confirm it into an electric. So that window has closed and the rage drive is online. But Willie kind of struggling here.
Yeah, some big plays here early on from the Toon Link. Now, we do know that Kazuya can kind of just flip the game on its side whenever he wants to. But the Toon Link doing a really good job of making sure that doesn't happen. And now has Willie kind of on his back foot at the moment.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice little things that Willie's making reads and trying to call certain moves out as that. Good Lord, that uppercut just kills from center stage at I don't even know, 80%. How cool is this character? Well, he paid extra for it, so Kazuya able to find his first stock in this head-to-head. Still eating a lot of damage. It does find a reflector onto the boomerang, but it goes over Toon Link's head. Toon Link with a very small hitbox. And I think that's part of why Willie is struggling a little bit with some of these combos, is now finally he's able to find one interaction that leads to a cool 47% on this Toon Link's last stock.
Yeah, we saw last series, Willie was able to confirm a lot of those into Electric Wind Godfist. Not really able to do that so far, and I think you're right. I think it has to do with the hitbox, but that real close almost took Toon Link's last stock. Not able to just yet, but a lot of damage done. Kind of some crazy moves getting pulled off by Willie right now.
Yeah, Willie trying to capitalize very much on his invincibility. Using the crouch dashes just like that, closing gaps in the blink of an eye for this character who does not have... Oh, he dropped it! Willie had a kill lined up there, but can't finish the move, and now a down air comes out from Toon Link. So Willie on his last stock here, struggling to put this away, but does have Dat Boy up to 111%, and now opts for that back tilt, goes for the laser, it won't connect. And just about literally anything, well, okay, maybe not literally anything, but surely literally anything now from Kazuya would take this stock. 160% now on Toon Link will be the command grab. Not a rage drive, but he doesn't need it. Willie, again, takes care of business for SU, and they walk away with a 2-0 series win over Radford.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say I was really impressed there from the Toon Link, but at the end of the day, that's a tough hill to climb.
Yeah.
It's really tough, especially when Kazuya can just, take you from 0 to 100 just quick, just absolutely insanely fast. That uppercut. That uppercut. How did he... What? I hope we get to see some replays here in a second from that. Was that 80, 90%?
Yeah, I didn't actually see the percentage. And I want to shout out Dat Boy for making this as close as it was. I mean, you saw that first stock. Toon Link was still only at 20%. 68? Are you kidding me? I mean, that is stupid. That has to be awful DI. But, yeah, I mean, you see the replay there, too. Again, Willie had that I don't know what it's called, but, where he sort of spins around twice and then he punches you. Had that move started, dropped it, but 160% doesn't need the rage drive version of the kill button, just the command grab. Who needs it? You're dead anyway. How cool is Kazuya?
I mean, what we saw there was really struggled a little bit with the hitboxes. I think you're right. Everything I noticed led me to the same idea. But eventually, Kazuya just above all. Kazuya above all.
Kinda. Yeah.
It's 68%. 68%. Uppercut just sends him flying, gone. See ya, gone forever. You know, it's tough hill to climb, but I think that the Toon Link did as good as you could have done there.
Yeah, Toon Link definitely did impress me in that head-to-head, kept that thing very close, and I think showed us all why Willie hates Toon Links.
Yeah.
But ultimately not enough to get through Willie with a full 3 stocks. But while Willie had a strong showing here today, there was someone who definitely had a stronger showing, and it was a character we got to see on our screens for quite a while. Kip's Pac-Man really taking over both of these sets as the middleman, not the opener as we're used to seeing him. SU, again, doing some experimentation throughout the series here tonight, but both sets, no matter who opened, Kip goes in, takes care of simply so many stocks, 16 over the course of both sets, averaging 2.7 stocks for each one that he lost. Just too much of a problem for opposing teams, and that's unfortunately not news for this player, as we have this player standing next to me in our booth. We welcome you back as I have Kip, our player of the series, back here for the first time in a while. Still chugging through NACE, undefeated. How does it feel? What's the outlook for this team? What did you guys pick up on today?
I mean, really just feels good. Really today was just, it was mainly a way to give Isaiah, or Eyes, as you know, some play time. Just want to see how he does in these, teams that we feel has the same level of experience that he has. So we it was kind of like some testing grounds for him, see how he does. I think he talked about earlier today, earlier on this broadcast, how he was able to get a game in versus when we played Fisher Navy last night, and he did really well. Took the last stock they need to take off of a Weezer, who I believe is number 2 in New York, which is pretty telling considering New York is one of the better regions in NA.
Yeah, very impressive stuff. How do you feel about the depth of this team, right? It's been a while since we've had this level of, having a sub that can come in different scenarios. What did you see today that you liked? We obviously got to see him last night and we liked it. Did you see more of that? And what things are you seeing from Eyes that are promising?
I think what's promising in being interchangeable between AJ and Eyes is that just kind of like how matchups go. Palutena is one of the perfect characters that are meant to gatekeep characters who are meant to be gimmicks, or characters who are mid tiers or below. Well, Falco still a very good character. He doesn't kind of have that sort of gatekeeping ability that Palutena has. So we kind of think both of those characters Palutena and Falco that kind of have these kind of more specific counter picking abilities. So having both of them just kind of be interchangeable at that point just feels really good for us.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah,
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, you're good. I do have a question. One thing I've noticed, especially during this match and throughout the season, is you've done a really great job at changing up the tempo when needed. How do you decide when you should change up the tempo? And how have you mastered so many play styles with Pac-Man?
Well, I think that just came by just playing the game for as long as I have. Month 1, I think after the first month of the game, that's when I really picked up Pac-Man out of a whim, because I just thought it was fun. But I guess to answer your question for changing play styles, it's a mix of the matchup. If it's a character I'm supposed to I can't really camp against, let's say Min Min for example, then I kind of have to run in the whole time, because Pac-Man does have some decent boxing options through his forward air, nair, F tilt. But also it's a player thing, right? So if a player is I'm trying to find a way to word this, if they're not as used to me just playing super aggressive, and I'm just so used to me just being hyper defensive, then that would just kind of throw them off. I think I did that versus maybe their Mario today, if I remember correctly. I just got this really nice forward air chain, and they just they die at 30 baby. That's one of the things that Pac-Man can do. It's just kind of just scare those really early stock situations sometimes versus characters that have those very linear recoveries. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun to watch, as I'm sure you're familiar. We'll ask you one more question before we wrap this thing up. You guys are still undefeated through NACE. You guys had a huge win last night against one of the Fisher teams in your NECC group. What's the outlook for this team? I mean, where is this team headed? What's the rest of the season look like?
I mean, if you want my look at it, I just kind of like, I did not think we would get as far as we have. Not to say like I'm doubting us or anything, just like we've just done so well this season that like I'm just kind of at the point where like whatever happens, you know? like as strong as a team as we are, I did not think, you know, being currently undefeated in NACE would be like super realistic, but hey, it's happening so far. So like now it's like, it feels like actually like realistic now. So it feels like really good that like, obviously like this, as you know, this is Avery's last semester. So we're trying to have like one last like hurrah for him while we have, you know, the best lineup that Shenandoah Smash has ever had in a long time. So we're just trying to see how far we can get, NECC playoffs with our big win against Fisher. That really bodes well for us. It gives us a real shot at playoffs. So I think if we have like maybe like 1, maybe 2 wins, which versus the teams we have to play in our pool, which I think is very winnable, there's a lot of potential for us.
Absolutely. Well, I won't want to miss those, and neither will you. So while that does it for us tonight, there is more Smash and more esports action in our future, and you won't want to miss any of it. So be sure to drop us a follow on whatever platform you're watching on right now so you don't miss out on any of our future matchups. But for tonight, I'm Chris Clayton. This is Brennan Moss. This is Kip, our player of the series. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might just change their life, and we will see you next time.
Shenandoah University is a big little university rising.
With 22 Division III sports teams, over 200 areas of study,
over 300 annual performances, an elite academic esports program,
nationally ranked health professions programs, one of the biggest university presences on Broadway,
immersive AR and VR learning programs,
cybersecurity and computer science programs, and innovative undergrad and graduate programs.
all at a place that cares for you.
Shenandoah University is the big little university rising. Find out more at su.edu/rising.
We have the Esports Arena right here on campus in Winchester, Virginia, and this facility acts as the hub for all esports activity at Shenandoah University. Students are able to use this space not just for competition and practices, but also as a living learning community and a sandbox for them to come and explore and practice and try out things related to and through esports in the gaming industry, so that they're getting that hands-on learning and the skills necessary to help them find a career by the time they graduate. We also have the professional level broadcast production booth, where we do all of our broadcasting and production, from casting of our games that we play right here on campus to working with outside entities to record footage for them as well. In addition to the space that we have here in the Esports Arena is the Esports War Room. Our students get to use that space for studying, but also outside projects. So our students get to use this space for professional development and the academic side of our esports program, which is such a critical component to go with that competitive element that we have. So we combine all of our facilities at Shenandoah University with competition, community, and career preparation. We have over 250 days of programming, and there's something for everybody, and we want you to be part of it.